Hey, it's Thursday night, and we're at Circuit World. It's 2018, and yes, they're back. The Bobcats are back because it's time for Team FYN Sports and Circuit World of East LJ presents Gilmer Bobcats Turf Talk. We want to thank Shane's Rib Shack for, again, this year providing a meal for the players and the coaches. And tonight with us, first on the couch, defensive back Brett Bennett is with us, and quarterback David Smith. We also have the offensive line coach, Alan Ramford.
Yes.
I got that right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And we all know this guy, Coach Casey Wingard. Before we get started, the Bobcats are coming off 28-0 loss to the Fannin Rebels. And Friday, you got to remember this, Friday, the Bobcats will be traveling to take on Raven Gap. And the game starts at 4:30. Yes, 4:30. So you got to leave early to get over there to support the Bobcats. Like Coach said, the good news is it's all downhill on the way back, just uphill on the way there. Okay. So, and that is Friday, and that'll be the Eagles opener for the season. Coach, how you doing? Let's get started right in here. Let's talk about the practice through the summer, all the things you worked on. How about we just start out with all the new coaches? Can you give all the coaches who's on staff now for the Bobcats?
Yeah.
That's a test, Coach.
It is. With the amount we have, I'm going through the list in my mind. Coach Ramford coaches the offensive line. Coach Rickman is our offensive coordinator. Coach Clutter is wide receivers coach. Coach John Stone is our tight ends coach, and we have a lay coach, Coach Ferris, to help out with the offensive line as well too. Defensive side of the ball, we have Coach Dodaro, who is our defensive coordinator, Coach Petit, who does the coaches the defensive line, Coach Daly, who coaches the linebackers, and Coach Higdon, who coaches the DBs.
Okay, this is your second season having the team through practice, preseason,
right,
all the way through. This is your second season, being able to work with the team all the way through from weight training, strength, everything. Highlight some of the differences this year from last year, and what are the improvements? Just highlight some things that have taken place in the off season for the Bobcats.
Well, what I've seen, we had the team we had last year is the team we have this year. So I see a lot of the players coming tighter together, closer together, becoming a team, and as well as the weight training. A lot of kids are lifting more weight, getting stronger, getting bigger. We bought in a chocolate milk program, so they lift the weights. They drink the chocolate milk right after the weight session.
Can I do that without the weight training?
The
chocolate milk. I mean,
I did that, and I know the weight. I know the weight gain works. So now, I'm telling them they have to lift the weights to get the results. They're going to look like me. But all through, spring, going through spring, it was a great turnout for the kids, especially going through that season. And they responded very well. We had a good spring practice, a lot of good winter workout runs, and then played Cahulla Creek in the spring game. And I thought, we competed very well. We only had at that time 4 coaches at the time.
Right.
And then the beginning of summer, we had a good turnout. Of course, every coach would like a little bit more turnout from the kids and all that through the summer, not bad. But then the coaches started coming in. We started getting them moving their families here and coming, and so we finally kind of got all together about right before Dead Week. And then from there, just gelling together as a coaching staff, and then having the team kind of mimic us and see that we're here together, we're a united front. And then that bled into them. We have a bunch of seniors this year, a bunch of older kids that, come together very well.
Right before we started, I was talking to David Smith here. David's a senior. Wow. Okay. David started with us here on the show as a freshman. David's been here. This is your 4th season with us. But David, you know what? I've always said, and knowing you guys for a long time, and again, being with you from a freshman, watch you young men mature on the field on Friday nights throughout your career. But you have been through a lot as a Bobcat as far as a player. You've gone through a time with this team that's gone through a lot of transition. What's this year like for you coming off last year and all these new coaches and everything? What's things like for you, David?
This year's a lot better. Like last year we had, 5 coaches?
5, yeah.
And now we have a full staff, and it just really helps out because you don't have like all the young guys with you, and then you can get more reps, so it works out pretty good.
Brett, I didn't ask you earlier. Now, are you a senior also?
Yes.
Senior. Same thing for you. What is this year like going through? Have you played since you were a freshman?
Yes.
Okay. So what is this year? You've gone through. You and David both yourselves. You came in right at a time. There's been a lot of transition in the Bobcat program. So what's it been like for you this year, through the spring, through summer, and getting ready for the season?
Just like David said, like now that we have a full coaching staff, I feel like we've come all together, and since we have like pretty much everyone that's playing now played last year, but this year it feels like we're closer. We know what we're doing.
Let me go to the offense with you for a minute, David. It looked like Friday night, and this is something that sometimes it takes some time, and it takes the live game and some reps to make it happen. But it looks like you and some of the other guys were just a step away from connecting a couple things. Did you notice that the other night? And is that what you're working on this week?
Yeah, we just got to cut some few mental mistakes that we made during the game and just pick up the pace, and it should work out pretty nice.
Did you see big differences Friday night from last year?
Oh, yeah. It was a lot different. We moved the ball good. Like, defense stepped up, played good.
I want to go back to you. How is the defense? How are you guys this week after last Friday night? Because I'll tell you what, they went into halftime. Rebels were only up a touchdown, and they're only up a touchdown. But I will say this: I watched the game, and you guys played so well as a defensive unit, but it just looked like you didn't finish. When it got late, got somewhere in that third quarter and got in that fourth quarter, you guys didn't get it finished. Have you guys been talking about this week, working on that and looking at that? What happened?
Yeah, we've been looking at it, and right there, like towards the end, we just started making a lot of mental mistakes and just like beating ourselves. But basically, what we've been talking about is just like looking at next play mentality.
Coach, let me ask you on the offense. This is not your first year with the Bobcats.
No, sir, it's not.
You're not a new guy around the program, but and I want to ask you for a reason is because I was talking before the break when we started FetcherNews.com Team FYN Sports. My very first year on the sideline, you went up and down that sideline with a clipboard.
Yes, sir.
And that's where I got to know you several years ago. But you came from a program at that time that was just a well-oiled machine. It just really was. Everything was clicking. Coming back now with the offensive line, what do you see in this program right now that excites you with these young men?
Well, there's several things I think, and it really starts at the top. Like I said, I was fortunate enough to be here when there was some success that went on to do that, and a large part of that was through the support that the program received at that time. And things have been, even though I wasn't coaching here, I've lived here the whole time, and so right. I've kept up with everything. And obviously, as both these know, that there's been some turmoil and some different things that have occurred. But what's been impressive is the support that's still out there, and starting in the school system, from the superintendent, the principal, the athletic director, all just been fantastic about, what do you need, how can we help you, what can you do, can we do to, help it make it better for these young men to do. And it's been great, and then through the other coaches in the other sports, hey, how can we cooperate and help? Just the whole spirit of that together. And then the community has never wavered in their support for the program. And that's been the key that I think that helps it come together. But now with being able to get a full staff together, I think it's really going to make an impact. And like Friday night, there were things that, again, we were just a little bit away, especially on the offensive side of connecting. And it just takes time, to work that all together and get it done. But their attitudes and efforts have been fantastic. with it. You would think that when things haven't been as successful, you wouldn't step into a situation like that. But you wouldn't know that at all from what these young men do on a day-to-day basis, and how they put their heart and soul into it and effort into it. But
I didn't mean to interrupt, Coach. Let me ask you a question, because I'm listening to Coach Ramford there. There's a big difference with having the equipment and the video, but then going in this year into the locker room and being able to divide the guys out and put them with their coaches to work individually, and you don't have so many guys at one time that you just can't put time into.
Right.
Is that just something that's enormous change?
That's been huge, and kind of what David was saying and Brett was talking about with last year. We've got a full coaching staff this year, so the younger kids from freshmen, sophomores, everybody's getting coached at every point of practice. There's no sitting around chewing your mouthpiece. You're able to split the teams up and form a practice script and a practice schedule that's going to help and be conducive to winning and producing the kids understanding, learning football, and competing with each other. That's been, in my shoes, that's been one of the biggest things that we have going for us right now. Is being able to do stuff like that.
Every kid on the team can be coached at all times.
All times.
But hey, let's just go back last year. There wasn't enough time to go around. David, I want to ask you guys a question before we wrap up this segment. I always say the coaches on the sideline, when you come over the sideline, they talk to you. They yell in there like that, like you really they think you can really hear them. So from the sideline, but out there as seniors, what's the senior leadership like this year? Are you guys keeping the attitude up on the field? What's the senior leadership like on this team?
Yeah, we have a lot of seniors this year, so there's a lot of leaders, and going from like offensive line, they have certain people stand out, and they'll lead and talk about what's happening on the offensive line, and then just all the seniors just leading.
Well, guys, I look forward to watching you this year, and the program, I will say I was out there Friday night, and the program is just day and night, and just from one season to the next. So I wish you guys well. We're going to take a brief break. When we come back, we're going to have two more Bobcats here on the couch with us. And don't forget, Team FYN Sports on Friday night. Follow us on Twitter at Team FYN Sports, Instagram, and like us on Facebook. Keep up with everything going on with the Bobcats on Friday night at Team FYN Sports. And also, every Monday on FYNTV.com, 10 a.m., instant replay with Dave Garner, a live 1-hour sports show where he goes over all high school scores and games for the week. That's Monday at 10 a.m. on FYNTV.com. We're going to take a brief break, and when we return, we'll have two more Bobcats on the couch here with us.
Circuit World, with multiple locations to serve you in Murphy and Franklin, North Carolina, Blairsville, Blue Ridge, and Ellijay, Georgia. Locally owned and operated since 1985. Appliances, electronics, and furniture. Name brand products like LG, Samsung, Dell, Whirlpool, Ashley, Catnapper, and more. No credit check, only 10% down on furniture, and only $10 down on any new lease purchase. Mention FYN10 for your special deal today at Circuit World.
Truck Month at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, and we're giving you a payload of savings. Now save up to $13,000 off new Silverado Crew Cab LT. And with Days Payment Vacation, make no payments for 90 days. Or save up to $7,400 off new 2018 Chevy Equinox. It's Truck Month in the mountains. See Days Chevrolet in Jasper today. The North Georgia Mountains #1 volume Chevy dealer.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Okay, we're back, and yes, you're watching Gilmer Bobcats Turf Talk, and we're here at Circuit World in East LJ. Before I get going, I want to remind you, they gave me this earlier, Circuit World here in East LJ. Everything right now, come out and receive 6 months, same as cash on all reclining furniture. Reclining furniture.
I remember that.
Yeah, exactly. 6 months, same as cash on all reclining furniture and other savings. And this Saturday from 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. a free lunch, customer appreciation here at Circuit World in East LJ. Also want to thank Shane's Rib Shack for providing the meal for the players and the coach. Joining us now on the couch is we've got tight end, a senior tight end. Bryson Smith is with us, and senior running back Avery Bertolini. How are you, Avery? Senior. These guys have been with me for 4 years, Coach.
All grown up.
Huh?
All grown up now.
You got to bring the new kids.
Yeah.
Guys, let me ask you a question before we get too deep into the second one. Just like I left with David and Brett just a minute ago. Talk about, you guys have been 4 years on this program. You have gone through the transition, coaching changes. I'm going to say lack of enough coaches on the field with you at one time. What is the difference, and one at a time here, what is the difference in last year and this year as far as the program that you see?
I feel like we're held to a higher accountability for stuff. And I mean, like they said earlier, more coaches and all that means the varsity can get more reps and the JV players can get more reps at separate times. But I feel like we're held more accountable this year, and we couldn't get away with like more stuff that we could last year with being lazy and stuff. And like every rep is like important.
I like that. Okay, what about yourself?
I mean, the past 3 years of all the coaching changes just kind of seems like a revolving door. And now the coaching staff that we have now all seems that you can tell just by the way that they act in practice and during school towards us and towards everybody around them that they want to be here and they want to stay here for a very long time.
Let me ask you the same question I asked those guys also. Friday night I watched the game, and you guys actually played well with just the exception of, it seemed like on the offense too many plays was just one step off, transferring the ball from one to the other, receiver not being exactly there. We won't say anything about David; he's gone, so we'll be nice about that, but jokingly. But is that what you guys saw out on the field? Just some things that really have to be tightened up?
Yeah, I feel like yeah, we were just a little bit off, and there were some plays that if we just got the ball handed off and snapped right, that we could have scored that play. But I feel like it's all on the players and us for not preparing better with more security drills and stuff like that, and that's one thing that's being repped all this week.
All this week, and that's what I was going to ask you. Let me start with you. What are you guys working on this week that you saw in film to make corrections for Friday night, this team you're going to see, the Eagles up in Raven Gap?
Well, of course we're focusing on the physical aspect of it, but since most of our mistakes were mental, we've been repping things over and over and over again just so we know the playbook like the back of our hands, and we can't possibly make those errors again.
I like that. Coach, let me ask you that question. When you went back and you looked at film, I asked you Friday night right after the game what some of the takeaways were, and just let's say it like this. What's the difference in the attitude this year from last year after a game? I mean, and what was the difference this week in practice that you guys worked on? What did you see in film that you had to adjust this week?
Looking at the game Friday night, offense, kind of got in their way a little bit. Defense played well. Still, there were some things that defense has to pick up on as far as reading keys and coverage and getting off the block, so to speak, wrapping up on the tackles. So everything I told the kids, I told the kids after the game, I can see it. We're almost there, and just keep sharpening the axe, chopping the wood, coming back, next play mentality. Focus on what you're doing this week. So when we looked at film this week, here's what we need to work on. And we met as a staff on Sunday, and we laid the plan out for the week. And the kids responded. Monday came, and we had a great Monday practice. We got after it on Monday, and that was a huge weight, sigh of relief on my shoulders coming out there. The kids responded the way they're supposed to, which is impressive. And they keep working hard. They keep getting after it. So looking at those little bitty things, mental reps, like Avery was saying, just keep doing those things over and over again, and it's going to be exciting.
Coach, let me ask you a question on the offensive line. I watched them Friday night, and obviously when you're an offensive line coach, seeing that's a unit.
Yes, sir.
And it's just not an individual effort on an offensive line, it's a unit. So obviously some of these guys, there's still some work to make that a unit. Okay, so what did you guys work on this week to try to put this front line as a unit together?
Well, the biggest thing on that aspect of it is the communication level. Them learning how to communicate with each other on the field, because we go over things, but it never works like that during the game. We say, well, he's going to be lined up here. Well, he may line up over there. It might be a mistake, but he's still over there. And they've got to be able to handle those situations. We can't cross the white line anymore on Friday nights. It's up to them. So they're working on being able to operate together as a unit. And to do that, they have to talk with each other. And then they sharpen up just the little basic things, their footwork, their pad level, things like that to do. And they're a great bunch. They really are, and they're working hard. They take a lot of pride about what they do, and I think that's true of the whole program this year. The ownership that the kids are taking in there has been impressive to see, considering where they've been coming from. We're basically the fourth staff in 4 years. Different ideas, different things to do like that. And it's been impressive to watch them embrace it and take ownership of it and try to push it up to the next level.
I want to take that and I want to say tonight, for those out there watching, I just want to say that I've had 4 seniors here tonight, and yeah, I say it, but we've been doing this a long time. This is actually our 5th year, the beginning of our 5th year doing sports shows, and so that means all of these seniors here tonight have been with us for 4 years, and I'm going to tell you what you guys have been through with the program. I'm glad to see all of you back. I mean, I am. I'm glad to see that the 2 guys that just left here and you two guys, you've stuck out every year and you're back, okay? So I want to tell you, I respect that. I got a lot of respect for that, staying with it, not giving up, because your leadership, the 4 guys here tonight, and like David said, you got a lot of seniors on the team. The only way this program could be what it needs to be, I love Coach, love all the coaches, is for you guys to keep coming back and show the younger guys there's something here to come back for.
That's right.
Am I okay, Coach? Yeah. I'm gonna check. I get on them rolls. I gotta see if I.
That's correct right there. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's go to you, Coach.
Okay.
Let me ask you this: Fannin didn't take you out of the game,
right?
And I have to say it just candidly. The team took themselves. You guys took yourself out of the game in the third quarter. Fannin didn't really take you out of the game. So, what are you guys discussing this week about finishing and don't take yourself out of a game because you're in it?
Right, and I think that's that comes night and day from last year to this year, and they were almost there. And I think looking at personnel, looking at who's on the field, trying to keep kids rotating, keep them fresh, show the third and fourth quarter, the mental mistakes jumped up, the fatigue hit in, and I think rotating some of those guys, getting fresh legs in there, keeping them fresh for 4 quarters is going to help us out a ton, going forward throughout the season. Just keep rotating those guys in because they get the same reps, and we rep them a bunch, so let them other guys compete and perform a little bit. And keep rotating that way. I think that is going to help us out.
How many guys are dressing out this year? How many guys got on sideline?
We have 7, right at 68.
That's great. That is really great. What are you seeing in film? I want to ask both coaches, starting with you. You're going over to play Raven Gap Friday night. What are you looking at in film with them? What are you guys looking at going over there? Or Friday afternoon?
Afternoon.
4:30 game.
Yeah, right afternoon. They're a very explosive team. They've got a lot of weapons on offense where they can get out to the perimeter very quickly. And they've got some kids that, watching film, it looks like, they can hit pretty well. So they have, great technique, and watching the offense, they get in a couple formations that, spread you out pretty wide, and they're very good with the ball that way. So defensively, we've been looking at how to cover trips, how to go into everything, and still got the run sound. So we've been practicing that a lot, lining up and doing a lot of block rec for that reason.
Coach, also with you on the line, looking at the film that you're up against this week, looking at their defense, what do you see coming at the offense this week?
Well, they run a 4-4 scheme, and the 4 kids they have up front are very aggressive. A couple of them have some good size to them down there, but they're really an attacking front. Their linebackers are excellent east to west coverers, going like that. So we're trying to come up with a good scheme built in through our program to be able to attack. At certain areas that we see there, they run a 3-deep secondary, so it's probably going to be a lot of possession coverages or routes that we run as opposed to trying to go for the home run to do that. But like I said, they are a very, very aggressive team, so we hope to be able to exploit that with a couple of things that we might be able to do.
Guys, also watching film this week, what are some of the things that from last week's game, let's just say missed assignments, whatever it was, that you watched on film that you said earlier you're making corrections on, running one right after the other, that you have to put together for Friday night that's different with the film you've been watching on this team?
Just being more mentally sound all 4 quarters. Possession, of course, just keeping possession, keeping the defense off the field, and just being better prepared for it mentally before the game, during the game, halftime, stuff like that.
How do you feel about this Friday night?
I feel like the attitude that we came out with Monday, the way we responded to Fannin, will help us in the end Friday night, because we came out ready to work after the Fannin games because we realized what had just happened. And I believe that everybody on the team's on a mission to not let that happen again.
Well, I'm going to double down on what Avery said earlier. He said, the difference this year, we got all these coaches. He said we can't be lazy. We have to work. Were those your words, right? Okay. Yeah, you have to work. Can't get away with anything. I think he said a little of all that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
And but I tell you what, you guys have a team, and not to disrespect any of the seniors that played last year, that were on last year's team, but the semblance of a team wasn't quite there. And you guys got a team. So you got a lot of time between now and region play. You got a good football team. You got a lot of talent, a lot of good players. We're ready for Friday, Coach?
Ready for Friday.
You know, Coach, if you leave and you go to those 4:30 games, you can stop and get the senior discount on, supper.
Really?
Yeah, you can, because you're playing before 5.
That's good.
Yeah, just checking, Coach.
The Dillard House. The Dillard House.
Right. Yeah. We know that. Wait, it won't be long. You'll be offered the senior discount. Okay. I'm your host, BKP, and you've been watching Turf Talk, Gilmer Bobcats Turf Talk. We are glad to be back. 2018 season here with the Bobcats. They travel up to Raven Gap Friday night to take on the Eagles. And yes, it's a 4:30 game, so got to leave early to go support the team up there. The band's going. It's going to be a great game Friday night. And we want to thank Circuit World here for hosting the show, giving us this place to have the show, and also Shane's Rib Shack for providing a meal for the players and the coaches. And don't forget, on Monday, FYNTV.com, 10 a.m. live, Dave Garner instant replay, where we go over all of the Friday night scores and highlights from the games. Follow us on Twitter at Team FYN Sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm your host, BKP, and we'll see you Friday night at the football game. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
We're out.